Now, there's been plenty of altercations between 50 Cent and Ja Rule, and with each altercation comes a different point of view from each opposing side. Today, I thought it was only right that we get into the Hit Factory incident, where it was said that 50 was stabbed and he placed an order of protection on Murder Inc. Gotti brought this up during the verses last night. So let's dive into all point of views and what actually happened that night. Shout out to all the yo-yas on the east side. It's your boy KD. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. 50 Cent and Murder Inc. have what I would like to call an extensive history. They've been through a lot together. But today I want to dive into the incident at the Hit Factory. To set the stage for this incident, we have to dive back a little bit into what's been going on prior to this. At this point, 50 has already dropped Life's on the Line, which was a diss at Ja Rule, and they already had an altercation in Atlanta where 50 and Ja Rule fought, and I believe a chain was taken off Ja Rule. So by the time we get to the Hit Factory in NYC, Ja Rule is obviously furious that 50 Cent has been talking about taking Ja's chain, and he's been on records talking shit about Murder Inc. Well, lucky for Ja, they were both at the same place at the same time, the Hit Factory in New York City. Ja Rule was in one separate studio and 50 Cent was also in another separate studio. So this is how the story goes. While Murder Inc. is at their studio, they get word that 50 Cent and his entourage are upstairs recording. Murder Inc. then proceeds to go upstairs, have an altercation with 50 Cent in a small studio where they are all fighting. During this altercation, the room is so packed that somebody bumps into the light switch and turns off the light. So in the midst of all the commotion, somebody in 50 Cent's camp is asking for the gun. Black Child, a Murder Inc. affiliate, hears this and automatically starts stabbing anybody in the room. After this whole stabbing situation goes down, it's said that 50 ended up in the hospital having to get several stitches, and an order of protection was placed on Murder Inc. members Gotti, Chris Gotti, and Black Child. Now, since this event, 50 has denied the order of protection, but he's confirmed that it actually existed, but it wasn't from him. What I just gave you guys was the basis of what happened that night. So now I want to go through the different versions of the story that we get from the people that were actually there. We have 50 Cent's side of the story, Ja Rule's side of the story, Chris Gotti's side of the story, and fuck it, we might even go through Black Child's side of the story. It's like those sitcom episodes where they all tell their version of the story and it's a little bit different every time you hear the same story. 50's story is pretty much the same to everyone else's. The only difference in his is the severity of the cuts that he received. According to him, he only got a few minor cuts from the situation and only had to get about 3 stitches. He also says that the order of protection that was placed after the incident was placed by the engineer that was at the studio that actually got cut the worst. He actually got stabbed in the chest. He wasn't really a street guy. He wasn't affiliated with G-Unit. He was really there just doing his job. So obviously he would place the order of protection.
It's super narrow, right? They came
dumb small room
and closed the door. The door that they was in my jacket is in their room. Look, there's 2 doors right here, right? My jacket is in this one. The hallway's narrow enough for us to walk through. That's it. They come close this door. They in there. They just let them close the door. My gun is in the jacket in that room. So we got to go through the scrapping on this side. The boy gets stabbed in the chest.
Yeah.
The DJ. Clue, at this time I ain't got no money. I'm not paying them. How am I supposed to control what he does after that? He's looking at it like it's payday. Oh, they're gonna pay for this.
Yeah.
They feeling like I'm supposed, like I'm doing it.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Like I'm telling them to do that. So you know how the old heads deal with anything. You know what I mean? So that's why I go down when we go down. But the whole situation bugged out. But they got my fucking pistol in the other room, sitting there. I'm not gonna go after you. Ran out. I can't even get my pistol. I want to shoot you going down the steps.
If that pistol was in that,
it would have been alright if I did that. It would have been self-defense still. Because all that many people came in there. Whole different thing.
If that pistol was
I would have changed everything.
Oh my shit.
Better I'd have let the swim me off in there with a bunch of two. Bang! Two He's been hit by one bullet. Then I didn't even go to the hospital. The little scratch I had only was with 3 stitches.
Yeah, you're back.
I didn't go to. I went home, and I'm in the radio hearing I went to the hospital. So they had me. I was like, all right. That's when it just
left with 2 scratches
the day after.
You know what I mean? Right there and right there. 2 scratches. That's all bitch ass could do. You know what I mean?
Call Dad.
They always make it bigger than that.
Let's keep going through the other points of views of this story. Next, we have Ja Rule, and Ja Rule actually wrote about this in his book. Ja Rule's version of the story states that he got word that 50 was in the studio. Ja Rule immediately decided to go check 50. He took his boy's crutches and headed upstairs to beat 50 up. Ja Rule says that 50 looked like he saw a ghost when he saw him, and immediately tried to talk it out. But Ja wasn't having that. He said he had 50 crouched up in the corner while he was beating him up. Now, while he was beating up 50, he heard 50 say, "Yo, get the gun." Ja looked at 50 like, "Get the gun?" And that's when Black Child started stabbing people. Now, in this version of the story, we really got Ja Rule being like the mega tough guy, hearing that 50's upstairs and handling his business, and really giving 50 a majority of the beatdown that he received that night. Is it true? Let's dive into Chris Gotti's version of events. Now, Chris Gotti is Irv Gotti's brother. He says that he came to the studio and he came in to find an enraged Ja Rule. He was already worked up that 50 was in the studio. Chris Gotti and Irv Gotti weren't really trying to go up there. They were trying to leave the whole situation alone. But Ja Rule was really insistent that they go up there and beat 50 Cent up. They decided to go up there, but Ja Rule actually had to stay back because Ja Rule was in crutches. In Ja Rule's version of the story, he says his man was in crutches and he took the crutches upstairs. But in Chris Gotti's version of the story, Ja Rule was actually in crutches and had to stay back and actually didn't go up at all to fight 50.
And Rule's like, he's here. He's here. Rule had crutches. He was on MTV. I think he did something on jet skis and messed his ankle up. So he had crutches. His ankle's messed up. And he's like, who's here? He's like, 50. He's here. He's in the building. He's like, and I want to get him. Let's get him now. This is Rule. Me and Irv got arrested.
Okay, and Ja was on crutches. He wasn't involved.
Ja didn't get arrested. Me and Irv got arrested.
What were you charged with?
I don't remember all the charges. Honestly, I don't remember all the charges.
But you didn't end up getting convicted or anything else?
No,
like that?
I got thrown away. He didn't put Ja Rule on the order of protection. He just put me and Irv on the order of protection.
Oh.
Ja wasn't on the order of protection. It was me and Irv.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had a restraining order, essentially.
Yeah, restraining order.
Okay.
Chris Gotti says that him, Irv Gotti, and Black Child were the only ones that went up there to fight. And that's why their names are the only names on the order of protection. I would get into Black Child's version of the story, but Black Child's version mirrors Chris Gotti's version of the story too. Now, from these 3 points of views, we can kind of make out what happened that night. I really do feel that, yes, they went up there to fight G-Unit. The lights went off because the room was packed. 50 was trying to go for his gun. Black Child did start stabbing people. He did, in my opinion, really catch the engineer badly, and that is the person that set up the order of protection. Now, another report that we can look at is 50 when he left the studio. He did say that he didn't go straight to the hospital. He said he didn't go to the hospital till the next day. But this is where we get somebody else in the story. We have Benzino, whose office was actually across the street from the Hit Factory. And he recalls seeing 50 after the incident and getting him a car from his car service to send him to the hospital. Now, we don't know if 50 ended up going to the hospital, but take with that what you want. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. This story, to me, it's hilarious because it just reminds me of those sitcom episodes where you get multiple versions of the same event. Like people, Ja Rule's to me is the funniest because both stories don't mention Ja Rule, and Ja Rule made himself seem to be like the illest tough guy ever when it looks like he wasn't even actually there. 50, on the other hand, makes it seem like he didn't get hurt at all. There was no big cuts that was made to him. he came out of there walking fine and he was all good. So y'all let me know in the comments, what do y'all think actually happened that night? Who do you believe? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here.